Formula One goes into its second of 3 weeks in a row races. We leave Austin, Texas and come to Mexico City at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. So just 4 races remain on the calendar. Next week it's the final sprint race at Brazil in Sao Paulo. Then it's a 2-week break before Las Vegas for the first time, and the season rounds out 4 weeks from this weekend at Abu Dhabi at the United Arab Emirates. In the Drivers' Championship, Max Verstappen is world champion, 466 points. Perez now 39 clear of Lewis Hamilton, who's now ahead of Alonso in 4th. Sainz, Norris and Leclerc battling it out for 5th place in the championship, closely followed by George Russell. Piastri, Gasly and Stroll fighting it over for 11th place. On the second page, it is Esteban Ocon clearly ahead in 12th, followed then by Alexander Albon. Valtteri Bottas just with 10 points this season, a point clear of Hülkenberg and Tsunoda. Zhou is 17th after a run of poor races, the same as Magnussen in 18th. Lawson still the only AlphaTauri second driver with 2 points. Sargent now picks up a point for the first time in over 30 years in America, and last time out since Michael Andretti in 1993. And still no points for Nick de Vries, who's no longer in Formula 1, returned to Formula E, or Danny Ricciardo as he continues his return. In the Constructors' Championship, Red Bull lead 706 points. They're already champions, but the battle for second is hotting up. Just 22 points between Mercedes and Ferrari. They're being challenged by McLaren, who are now clear of Aston Martin, who've slipped down to 5th place. Alpine have 100 points. Williams up to 7th place, impressively ahead by 10 points to Alfa Romeo. Haas only have 12. AlphaTauri, though, have 10. Let's take a look around the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, 2.674 miles or 4.303 kilometers, 71 laps ahead of us as well. A fantastic lap time. Pole time last year a 1:15.875. Exiting the Forosol Stadium then and booting it hard at the last corner, the Mansell Peraltada. Open up the DRS and you're straight down towards turn number 1 on the start of the lap. 871 metres from pole position towards the first braking zone. The engine is singing as you're 2,000 metres above sea level. Down then already from 8th gear down to just 3rd gear. First braking zone, a runabout under the 100 miles an hour board. Turns 2 and 3 through the Mercedes Solana corner. Speed you up as well into the second DRS zone where you reach 8th gear towards the heavy braking zone for turn 4. A good opportunity for overtaking here as you slam on the brakes down to 3rd gear as well. Into the Record Rabac corner as well. The hairpin as well at turn 6 and sort of double barreled as well. Not really an opportunity for an overtake, but a great one to run you through the S-curves as well. Turn 7, 8 and 9, 5th gear, rising up to 6th gear as well throughout the exit as well. Keeping the speed through here is tricky. The car wants to dance around on you as well and to spit you out, but when you get it right, and especially the 2022 cars, it's absolutely fantastic. Hurtling down towards Fernandez then, turn number 12, 8th gear down to 4th gear, and then you're into the Forosol Stadium. Over 80,000 people in this area. Give them all a wave as you hurtle through the gap between the middle where the players used to go through, and then you back out through the Peraltada across the line after 6th gear, rising up to 7th as you take the control line, and that is a lap around Mexico City.
Welcome everybody to the drivers' press conference ahead of the FIA Formula One Mexico City Grand Prix. As ever, we have 2 groups coming your way. Here is Group 1. Closest to me we have Yuki Tsunoda, then Esteban Ocon, Alex Albon, Pierre Gasly, and the man who is starting his 200th race this weekend, Nico Hülkenberg. Nico, let's start with you. It's not your first rodeo, as I've just said. It's a hell of a milestone. Just talk us through it.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been fun. Obviously, a nice achievement. 200 races in the bank. This time last year, I was obviously not in a position where I saw that come in. But that's how things, or how quickly things can change in F1. So end of next year, I'm going to be close to 230s, and nice. Makes me happy. I do what I like, what I'm passionate about, and happy.
Many celebrations this weekend. I know you've got a special helmet.
Yeah, but it's not the time to celebrate, it's the time to work. We're still in the championship, and none of the competition will gift anything, so the usual grind, really.
Can you just reflect for a minute, and let's talk about maybe your best race in the last 199?
Oof, tough one. I felt I drove really well last Sunday, but it was like a P12, 13, so it didn't really surface and show much. Yeah, there's been a lot of fun ones, good ones. Also, likewise, obviously some bad ones, and some where I don't like to remember so much back to them. But all in all, it's a great industry, F1. Really cool environment, fun to be part of it again, especially now the second stint since the comeback this year. I've been really enjoying myself and enjoyed a lot, and happy to continue.
Well, how much did you enjoy your car last weekend? You were running the much anticipated upgrades. What were you feeling?
Yeah, it's obviously sprint weekend, so not an easy one for us. And then obviously we decided to do some big setup changes and had opted for the pit lane start, which obviously made life a bit harder for the race. But in hindsight, it was the right decision. We were more competitive on Sunday, and I think that was the first time in the first day where some positive signs and steps were seen. I think in terms of time management, this was one of the best races in a while for us. So still exploring, still finding out and learning more about the package, and I hope there's more to come as we go. But it was positive, let's say.
What does it mean for this weekend in Mexico?
What does it mean?
Yeah, the upgrades.
Hopefully a better performance. I mean, it's obviously quite different circuit here, different circumstances. The usual Mexico challenges here with cooling for car, for brakes, the thin air. It's always challenging every year. But it's just about maximizing our package and putting the best car possibly on the track.
All right. Best of luck with that.
Thanks.
Thank you, Nico. Enjoy the 200th celebrations. Pierre, let's come to you then. A really strong weekend for you in Austin last time out. You were 7th in the sprint, 6th in the Grand Prix on Sunday. What aspect of the whole weekend pleased you the most?
Well, I will say probably the whole weekend as a whole. I think we've been executing and getting the best out of that car on every single session. So whether it was the qualifying on Friday, whether it was the sprint on Saturday, or even the race, I feel like we've left nothing on the table, and that's definitely a satisfying feeling when you come out of a weekend where you've given everything at it, and that's pretty much the maximum you could get out of it. So I think that's going to be the target until the end of the year. Obviously, we're not fighting for anything in the championship this season, so I think it's going to be the main focus will be to just execute weekend after weekend the highest level, whether it's on the execution or getting the everything out of our car.
But Pierre, it wasn't just Austin, because your form has skyrocketed since the summer break. I think it's 36 points in the 6 races since the break, whereas it was only 22 points in the, 14 races prior to that. What do you put this turnaround down to?
I will say, the first part of the season, I quite rarely got that feeling, which we just had in Austin, for example, where it felt everything was optimized, and we definitely didn't leave anything on the table. I think there was a bit more unknown, and getting to know each other with the team and understanding what sort of car feedback, kind of building the relationship with the team, and everything seems to click a bit better since we got back from the summer break. So no, I'm really happy with the progress we are making in terms of execution, the attitude, the self-reflection on what we do every single weekend on all areas, and I think overall we're just making a step forward as a team, which is what we need to aim for before next season.
And in terms of performance, what can we expect from you and Alpine this weekend?
Well, I think pretty much the same we've seen last weekend. So we seem to be not quite there with the guys I had with the likes of Mercedes, Ferrari, McLaren, and Red Bull. We are not too far from Aston, and we can, be right in front of them if they don't get it quite right like they did in Austin. So I think that's going to be our main competition, and if we can get in the fight with Fernando a couple of times until the end of the year, I think that will be definitely a good performance. And as I say, just maximize the opportunities. There might be a couple of good opportunities until Abu Dhabi, and just need to make sure we're there to grab them.
last question from me. Can we throw it back to last weekend and off track? Rory McIlroy was one of the guests of the team. You've obviously got a big golf match coming up in just a couple of weeks' time.
With that man, we're just talking about it and how stressed we are about that.
What advice did Rory give you? I'm sure you talked about it.
I did manage to get a free golf lesson from Rory. Well, we did a putt challenge, and somehow managed to beat him. Okay, I had a hole which was pretty much double the size that he had, and yeah, that was the bet on the line. I told him, okay, if I beat you, I want a free golf class from Rory, and that's gonna happen. I'm not sure we'll be able to do it before Vegas, but yeah, we got this big tournament coming up with Alex. I think we are in the worst seats at the minute compared to Lando and Carlos, so we might get some practice together next week. We'll see, but yeah, that's definitely gonna be a pretty cool experience to be on the golf course, you know, with these pro golfers, and just having Rory and Joshua last weekend in America was definitely an honor for us, and great to have these guys' support.
Thanks, Pierre. Best of luck this weekend. Alex, unfair advantage. Rory McIlroy giving him a lesson. Who have you got teaching you?
Girlfriend.
Yeah, pretty much. I think I have a full-time coach, which is my girlfriend, but I don't listen to her because she's my girlfriend. So, so it's going to be tricky. I think we're trying to find some time. I don't know how Pierre's doing, but obviously a triple header, and then we've got a week off, but that week off is normally spent traveling and doing simulator work. I'm going to struggle to get the practice in, and we're going to embarrass ourselves quite badly on international television. So it's a lot of pressure. I think I'm actually, it's becoming on my mind more than the races coming up, which is a problem.
Can we talk about one of the races that's just happened? After 3 point-less races for the team, you get a 9th and a 10th in Austin. Just how welcome was that boost for everybody?
Yeah, well, we scored points in Qatar in the sprint race, so we've been on for us what we call a bit of a run, 2 races in a row. The car's been feeling okay. Obviously, we haven't had many upgrades for a while now, but as Pierre touched on, a lot of it in the midfield, because it's so tight, it's more about execution than anything else. And we seem to have a decent car, and obviously a couple of low ride heights seem to help us.
Now, it was a big moment for Logan, of course, getting his first World Championship point. How vividly do you remember scoring your first points in Bahrain 2019, and what difference did it make behind the wheel and the confidence that it gave you?
It does make a big difference. I think when you can start off a season, I was quite lucky where I started off the season with points early on. It just settles the nerves. It's always that thing where your first kind of goal is to score points. Then it would be to score a podium and then win races and then win championships. But you want to get the points first. That's kind of your first checklist tick that you want to do. I'm sure, you know, it happened in a way which is not that normal on the plane on the way back, that you get the results given to you. But I'm sure Logan is enjoying it and can use that for some momentum for the rest of the year.
All right, a final one from me. Just this weekend in Mexico, what can we expect from you and from Williams?
Let's see. It should be an interesting weekend. Last year wasn't that good for us. Low-speed corners don't tend to go too well for us, and this is predominantly third gear kind of style. So let's see how it goes. We've seen our car can be unexpected at times, and I wouldn't want to say that we're going to score points this weekend, but I think we can be close and hopefully rely on some drivers and teams not optimizing their packages, and then we can take over. So all to play for.
All right, good luck with that. Thank you. Esteban, coming to you now. It was another frustrating one for you last time out in Austin. I think officially it's your 6th DNF of the season, but if we include races like Australia, I think you can almost make that number 8. It's been a difficult run. How frustrated are you feeling right now?
Well, I think if you let the frustration, get to you, you are not looking, ahead, and obviously that's what I'm looking at. Trying to get things back running like they were at the time in the year. And obviously, yes, we had quite a few DNF that costed us this year. but you know, it's sometimes like this in motorsport. It happens, and we're going to be focusing on the right things this weekend, and hopefully get a good weekend under our belt.
You made a great start in Austin. If you hadn't had the contact with Oscar Piastri, what do you think might have been possible?
Yeah, definitely good points. Obviously, there was a huge opportunity in that race to be scoring well, especially with, you know, the few disqualification that there was ahead. But I mean, you know, that weekend, you know, from the Friday to the Sunday, you know, wasn't bad. It's just that things didn't turn out the right way for us. But things will turn around and come back to us.
Well, let's turn the page and focus on this weekend. Knowing the car as you do you think it'll be a strong weekend for Alpine here?
It was last year. You know, we had you know, points on my side. Obviously, we were performing quite well. You know, Q3 in quali and running, you know, strongly in the top 10 as well. I almost had a podium a couple of years ago here in 2017, and it's a track that I really enjoy. So I look forward to be driving here around.
And Pierre has touched on having the other sports stars join the team for a weekend. I know you spent time with Rory McIlroy and Anthony Joshua. Do you find it inspiring having stars from other sports join you? Do you learn stuff off them? Yeah, massively. I mean, to be able to talk with these guys, you know, that have been so successful in their sports, that are joining, you know, what we want to achieve, you know, as a team, that are basically joining us. And I mean, you know, you can talk to them and try to get, you know, good things for us as sportsmen, and that's what I try and do. You know, I'm like a big sponge when I talk to them, and it's just awesome to be linked with these guys, and hopefully there's going to be some awesome stuff coming up with them as well. All right, Esteban, thank you. Good luck this weekend. Hope it turns around for you. And Yuki, thank you for waiting. So, such a strong weekend for you in Austin last weekend. You finish in the points, you get your first fastest lap in Formula One. How sweet was that moment for you?
Yeah, it was a good moment for us. To be honest, obviously we got slight luck from the cars ahead. But it's a big point for us, and especially we have only 4 races to go, and you know, we definitely close the gap to the cars in front, so which is really good. And last fastest lap was I enjoyed a lot with the, you know, last fresh tires on in the soft. You can mostly in the race you're managing the tires, and now you can go flat out. So it was a cool moment, and I think we got a good motivation for now, extra motivation from that point. And I think we're ready for the rest of the races.
And how did having Daniel Ricciardo back as your teammate help in terms of using his experience for what was a sprint weekend?
Yeah, I think that helps a lot. But at the same time, we kind of spread the strategy to try to maximize the race. We knew that it's gonna be difficult to score points in the US sprint qualifying. Turns out it's quite a good race pace. But like Alex and Nico says, it's all about execution. So we didn't able to probably maximize that day on Saturday. So that's the only things that we have to improve for the future. But you know, every details, every feedback from him definitely gives us a step forward for as a team.
All to play for in the Constructors' Championship, of course. You're now just 2 points behind Haas, 6 points behind Alfa Romeo. How high are you aiming in these last 4 races? What can you achieve?
Yeah, obviously it would be nice if we're able to, you know, be top 8. But won't be easy. I think I've been consistently recent races quite fast, so. It won't be easy, but anything can happen. Like we saw previous races, and hopefully it's not. 2 points sounds quite small, but it's not actually close. You know, you need to actually maximize every race week. So, but we're feeling optimistic. Looking forward to it. I think package are getting closer and closer towards P10, which is good. And we just have to put it all together every races.
All right, good luck with that. Thank you very much. Right, let's open this to the floor. Please remember to give your name and publication. First one, David.
Thank you very much. David Croft, Sky Sports F1. Nico, question to you. And congratulations on the 200th, mate. It's a brilliant milestone. You had a stellar junior career, a sensational career before F1. Seems inconceivable that you go into a 200th race with no win and no podium to your name. Why do you think that is? Is it just wrong time, wrong place in terms of the teams you've been with, or is F1 that much harder? I mean, what do you put that down to?
Yeah, F1 is that much harder. Yeah, just, I had a couple of opportunities where podium would have been possible in a non-top car, but yeah, things happened that kind of stopped and prevented that. And if you're not in top cars, these opportunities don't come around that often. So I guess I just missed out there. That's the way it is.
Welcome back, everybody, to part 2 of our drivers' press conference here at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. 5 more. Closest to me, we have George Russell, Oscar Piastri, Zhou Guanyu, Fernando Alonso, and local hero Sergio Perez. Checo, let's start with you. It's the big one for you. Just how different is this race to all of the others for you?
Yeah, it's very different. It's the weekend that you want to be perfect, the weekend that you want to maximize your result, and if there's one particularly Grand Prix that you want to win is your home Grand Prix.
Look, how much busier is it? Tell us about the week you've had so far.
Yeah, it's quite, luckily I had Austin before, so we were not that busy. Only yesterday we did have a lot of events, but now it's just a normal weekend, and at the end of the day, it's a weekend that counts the same as any other weekend in terms of points, so it goes in hand.
Checo, you say it's a normal weekend, but how difficult is it for you to cut out all of the noise and focus on the job in hand?
I think once I'm in the car, it's a lot easier. It's very easy. It comes natural. But when you are out of the car, when you are with or even in the paddock, you see the attention is very different. A lot of eyes on you, and a lot of support from all the crowd.
You finished on the podium for the last 2 years. Have you dared to dream about the reception you'd get in the Foro Sol if you won your home race?
It will be insane. That will be my biggest dream, to achieve that this weekend. Now full focus on tomorrow, the practice, and try to get a perfect weekend here.
And are you happy with the car? Just talk us through Austin. Do you feel you're coming here happier than you've been in the last few races?
Yeah, definitely. We made a lot of progress. Unfortunately, we didn't really get to show the full potential we had. With the sprint event, we end up taking the wrong direction with the car. Like a lot of people did. Even Mercedes, Ferrari, it's what happens in those sort of events. So we end up just taking the wrong direction with it, and I believe that we made some really good progress.
Okay, well, look, best of luck this weekend. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
Now, Fernando, Checo is the star of the show this weekend here in Mexico, but there were some crazy scenes when you went into the Hugo Boss store in Mexico City yesterday. Just talk us through the reception you've had here.
Yeah, it was a surprise. They told me before leaving the hotel that there were 4,000 people at the mall. So yeah, it was true. I didn't believe it, but it was incredible. The enthusiasm about this race here in the city is very nice to see, and we have this incredible welcoming from everyone. So yeah, we are just enjoying every minute here. We want to put a good show on Sunday, and people celebrate hopefully a good result.
Not even in Spain you get this sort of
we are less people. We are less people, so that's why.
Country.
Yeah, exactly.
You need to tell your Spanish friend to push it up.
Yeah.
Fernando, you talk about Sunday and the show. Where are you at with your car at the minute? Because Austin seemed a confusing race, at least from the outside, because it started poorly and the car seemed to get better and better as the weekend went on. Where were you finding the gains?
optimizing the setup. I think on sprint weekends you have that risk of having only one session where you have to optimize everything in the car. We didn't. We had a very difficult session in FP1 with a lot of brake problems, and we opted to change the setup, optimize a little bit everything, the package, and start from the pit lane. And that was a nice result for us, a good information that we got from Austin. And yeah, I think the pace that we saw on Sunday, it was a combination of being optimized on our side, and maybe, as Checo said, I think our main opponents were not optimized, having only FP1. So it was the same for everybody, and we took the opportunity to have a better Sunday.
And is it clear to you how you need to set up the car here in Mexico?
Not totally clear. I think it is a completely different track with different needs. So I think we will use the full practice this time. After a few sprint events, we are a little bit more relaxed now and happier that we have FP1, FP2, FP3 to optimize things. So it's going to be the same for everybody, but we really need these 3 practice that is coming next days.
Good. And final one from me, Fernando. You've been out on the paddle court with George yesterday.
Correct.
Were you impressed by George?
I was because I think I've been playing paddle for, 15 years or 12 years or something like that. But I think George is quite new into that, and he was strong, and we are unbeatable at the moment. We play once, and it's 100% at the moment wins.
You're welcoming all comers. Roll up, roll up. Fernando, good luck this weekend. Thank you. Now, Joe, let's come to you. We've seen some fluctuating performances from Alfa Romeo recently. Very strong in Qatar, disappointing in Austin. How do you explain that?
Yeah, actually, it was, for example, Austin, it was actually the best start we ever done this season in terms of just Friday with one practice session. We managed to get the car actually in the very nice window. But then, we was expecting to be picking up a little bit quicker the pace, like the other few races. We've been stronger on a Sunday than maybe Friday or Saturday in quali. But Austin was completely opposite round, so we was quite surprising actually with the amount of lack of speed on Sunday. So we didn't really have the car to be fighting for points. Unfortunately, after a pretty good, P12, P13 starting grid.
So from a setup point of view, where do you start this weekend in Mexico?
I mean, it's very nice to have a weekend back to normal finally. I think for everyone, that's what we really need to understanding a bit more with all this package we have, and for the teams, and to have extra 2 sessions that really helps to understanding a lot more. So we can try different setup, making sure that we can optimize everything we have before qualify session, and it's going to be super important. Also, I feel like the step we was able to done throughout the season is being into the right direction, but we wasn't able to keep the consistency like some of the other competitors was able to do.
And do you take some confidence from the pace of the car here last year? I think Valtteri qualified P6, and you both were competitive in the race.
Yeah, actually, it was kind of last year here. I remember it was like the best race weekend we had for the second half of the season, because we struggled a bit more towards the end of the season. And the car seems to be quite strong, especially with the low grip track and also these low speed conditions. So we really want to work on that and try to focus on be back on the points, because I feel like if some race weekend you can be fighting for points quite comfortably, then there's no reason as a race weekend you struggle a lot more. So yeah, it's about optimize the setup before quali, and then everything will just come.
Okay, best of luck this weekend. Thank you, Joe. Oscar, coming to you. It's been a busy week. Tell us what you've been up to since Austin.
Yes, I went to New York for a few days, seeing some of our partners, some of our investors as well, which was nice. Obviously a lot of our partners and investors are based on in this part of the world, so nice to catch up with them before coming here.
And if we talk about performance, it's been a while, Oscar, since you've had a frustrating weekend in Formula One, and I think Austin was that. How do you reflect on last weekend?
Yeah, you're right. It was a tough weekend. I think it just took me longer than I wanted to get up to speed. I think sort of as I went through the weekend, I was getting better and better, and Sunday was looking pretty good. Had a good start, and then unfortunately had to retire. But definitely one of the weekends where I'll learn the most and try and work on that for the next few weekends.
And when you look at the layout of this racetrack, I know you've not raced here before, but do you think it'll suit the McLaren?
Not particularly, not like some other circuits have. In saying that, I think Austin was maybe better than our expectations in terms of performance, but we'll have to wait and see. It's a very different circuit here. It's my first time here, so there'll be a lot of learning for myself to do. But hopefully we can still be in the fight with the teams we're around.
All right, best of luck. Thank you, Oscar. George, thank you for waiting. Coming to you now. Well, praise indeed from Fernando Alonso about your paddle skills.
Yeah, it was okay. We teammates on the paddle court, 100% record against our competitors. So it was always nice to do that as a sport. I'm getting into it a little bit as this year has progressed, and especially this time of the season, you spend a lot of time away. It's nice to have a little hobby on the side.
Now let's talk ride heights. There's been a lot of chat about that since last weekend. Do you expect Mercedes to take more of a conservative approach this weekend?
I think it's a very different layout here. Obviously, with the one session in Austin, we did all of the standard checks after FP1, and the plank looked absolutely fine. So there was no reason after the practice session to make any changes. But obviously, we got that very wrong. I expect the nature of this circuit to be naturally more conservative, and with the 3 practice sessions, I don't foresee any issues there.
And what about the upgrades to the car? Over a race distance, what were you feeling?
Yeah, definitely the upgrades were performing really well, and I think that was clear with the performance. We had some limitations on my side. I had not enough fuel and was having to manage the fuel for half of the race, so that really put me on the back foot. But the last stint, we just sort of went for it, and the pace was probably the strongest out there, which definitely bodes well for the end of the season.
And what about track limits here? You got a 5-second penalty last time out for your pass on Oscar. I'm sure you're all good between you now, but do you expect track limits to be an issue here?
It shouldn't be a problem. I can't think of any corners that are going to be a limitation. I think turn 2 there was a bit of a problem last year with some drivers cutting it, but it's sort of circuits like this that you want to be racing on where there isn't an opportunity to be pushed off but still take the advantage. So I think Austin, Austria, I can't think of any others now, but these types of circuits lends itself to that.
Okay, final one. You were very competitive last year, started on the front row, finished 4th. What can we expect from Mercedes here?
Yeah, the car was performing really well last year. On paper, I'd say this circuit suits us better than the likes of Austin and Qatar and Japan, of which were still pretty competitive too. So I wouldn't say we have high hopes here, but I think it should suit us slightly better. Bit of an unknown going to the C5 compound this year compared to the C4 last year, but we're feeling optimistic going into these 2 races.
All right, George, thank you. Thanks to all of you. Let's open this to the floor. Name and publication. Please, David Croft.
Thank you very much. David Croft, Sky Sports F1. Checo, let's come to you. Why not? Lots of billboards I saw on the way to the track today with photos of you and Max embracing the hashtag RaceSpect has been seen around the circuit. We had the interesting headline from the local newspaper about Max and helmet, race and then get out of town. Rivalry is great and we love sporting rivalry. Do you feel that sometimes, and potentially this weekend, rivalry could spill over to something a little more unsavoury?
No, not at all. And I think it's important that we give this message, because I think media likes to create this sort of rivalry outside the track. And I think we are a great sport. We are a great example for a lot of young generations. And we should just be focused on the sport side. And whatever happens on track should always stay there. And that's that's the best message we as a country want to give, to the rest of the world. And there is nothing else going on. The most important is that everything stays on track.